All right, so it's early October. The leaves are falling. The temperatures are falling. Praise the Lord. We were so tired of sweating down here in South Carolina. But I got a phone call yesterday from a guy who said, Patrick, what is the best Ironman Outdoors deer retreat that I can go on? And I thought maybe other people might have that same question. So I wanted to jump on here and make a short video and go over some of what I think are the best deer hunting retreats that we have. And some of them we even still have availability on for this fall. So I'm going to share my screen. And while I'm doing that, I want to, if you don't know what Ironman Outdoors is all about, we are a men's ministry. We take groups of men on hunting and fishing retreats, and we talk with them about being a godly father, about being a godly husband, and about being a godly man. What does that look like? We hunt during the day. We're not an outfitter, although we do put on some really great hunts at really great prices. But we're pretty serious about the hunting. Like we want to, put a tag on a really big buck, but we also are there for the ministry. And what that looks like is in the evenings, we have what we call a manhood discussion, where we talk about things that men struggle with. And it's not a worship service. We're not going to ask you to sing anything. It's not a Bible study. We're not going to hit you over the head with a Bible, but we will use some scripture to guide our discussions and to see the truth that comes from God's word about being a godly father, a godly husband, and a godly man. So what's the best deer retreat? I'm going to just flip through some slides here that you can follow along. And I mean, there's been some great retreats. We've got about 27 deer hunting retreats this fall, and we've already had 3 or 4 of them already have happened, but we've got quite a few coming up in the near future that I wanted to make you aware of. So Cambridge, Ohio, that deer was killed on one of the farms that we hunt in Cambridge, Ohio. That was Dave from Florida. And that was November 12th, a couple of years ago. I was there with him. Lush green food plot. I know it's a black and white photo, but that is a beautiful green food plot with turnips growing up in it. And 166-inch deer stepped out with a huge drop time. And so Cambridge, we love Ohio. We really like that Cambridge area. That's Guernsey County, which is a really good county in Ohio. A lot of things we like about Ohio. We've got 3 open spots coming up on a Halloween deer retreat, and that should be a great time. Those bucks are starting to get on their feet. They're starting to check scrapes and run scrape lines during daylight, and they're just up and moving. And so we got 3 open spots on that one. November 7 through 10. Now we're getting into the heat of the rut, and things are getting really good. We've got 1 open spot on that retreat. And then we have those first 2 are archery, by the way, bow or crossbow. And then that third one is November 28th through December 1st. We have 1 open spot, and that is a shotgun, muzzleloader, or straight walled pistol cartridge that you can use in Ohio. Here's Daniel with a big buck he killed last year in Cambridge, Ohio. Here's 2 guys that came on a retreat with us last year, had a great evening hunt, and some really beautiful deer that came off of those properties. This is a big buck we killed last year called Corn Stalker, because every trail camera picture we had of him, he had stalks of corn hanging off of his rack because it was so wide. I don't know how you walk through a cornfield with a rack that wide, but he basically lived in a cornfield. So check out on our website, ironmanoutdoors.org, and you will see retreats for Cambridge, Ohio, and we've just got a few spots left there. Kentucky is one of my favorite places to hunt. We've been doing retreats in Kentucky for almost 10 years now, and we've developed some relationships with some great pastors in Western Kentucky, and that has helped us get in touch with some farmers and some landowners who have some really great properties to hunt. This is a buck that we killed last year. A guy named Matt killed that on one of our retreats, and we do have a few open spots. Beaver Dam, Kentucky, October 13 through 17. That's coming up really quick. We got 5 open spots, and I'm going to show you a trail camera picture in just a second that's going to make you want to think about that retreat. So Thursday and Friday, that is archery, bow or crossbow, and then Saturday and Sunday of that retreat is muzzleloader in Kentucky. They have a 2-day short muzzleloader season, hunt and cut cornfields and soybean fields. Pretty good deal. November 3 through 6 is archery, and we have one open spot on that one. And then now we're getting into the rifle hunts. That peak of the rifle is the beginning of the rifle season is right about the peak of the rut. So November 11 through 14, we have 2 open spots with a rifle to hunt Western Kentucky. And then there towards the end of the rifle season, November 18 through 21, we also have 2 open spots on that one. And my experience has been in Kentucky that you will see the smaller bucks, the younger bucks, will be on their feet first. But then once you get like around November 18th and you get in the later part of that rifle season, then the big bucks get on their feet, and they're going around trying to see what does have not been bred yet. So check out that retreat. And then we have a December muzzleloader hunt, December 9 through 12, that has a lot of good spots. It's going to be cold then. Could be some snow, could be some sleet and freezing rain. Wintry mix is what they call it. But that could be really good. The name of the game in December is food. So it's legal to bait in Kentucky. So we'll be putting out a lot of corn for that retreat. And there won't be much else in the woods for them to eat at that point. Here's a good buck that was killed last year on one of our retreats in Kentucky. Here is a buck we call Radar. We got lots of pictures of Radar. He is a good buck on one of our farms. This was just from October the 10th. So this was just a couple days ago. Beautiful buck here. Again, October 10th, 6:46 in the morning. He's out in daylight on the edge of a soybean field. And that's why I'm saying this muzzleloader hunt this weekend could be really good, because we got bucks on their feet during daylight hours. And that's a deer that you can harvest. Here's a different farm in Kentucky. We've got a feeder out in the middle of a food plot, and that buck right there on the left, that is a nice buck. I don't care where you hunt in the country. That's a very nice buck. And again, daylight. This is in the afternoon. This was about a week and a half ago. So we got some good bucks on their feet. Another Kentucky buck from a different farm. Again, showing up in daylight, and this is from a week and a half ago. This trail camera picture, just wanted to show you this. It was back from September, but man, that is a beautiful 10-pointer walking across that field in broad daylight. This is a buck back from August. So that's been a little while ago. And here's one back from September. Love how this buck swoops around. His tips of his antlers come close at the end. So check out Western Kentucky, Beaver Dam, Kentucky. We do have retreats with a few openings left on those. Now, I'm from North Carolina, and some of you may say, Patrick, how come y'all don't do more retreats in North Carolina? Well, we just haven't had a place to do retreats in North Carolina until now. One of our volunteers in the ministry is opening up his personal farms to let us do some retreats on his place this year. And one of those is November 3rd through the 6th. That's a muzzleloader hunt. It's in Lee County, near Goldston, North Carolina, Sanford, North Carolina. And I grew up in North Carolina, and that area, that Lee and Chatham County area, has always been good for big bucks in North Carolina. And really and truly, the rut is in that early November timeframe. So their rifle season doesn't come in until after this. But this is a muzzleloader hunt. For whatever reason, we weren't able to book a whole lot with this. So we've reduced the price down to $400. So that's your lodging, that's your meals, and that's hunting on private property. All you got to do is show up with your license and your muzzleloader. So that's a really good one. Here's some bucks that have been killed on that property in North Carolina. Check it out. That's a really good hunt and a neat place, especially if you're in North Carolina and you don't have to buy an out-of-state license. Brantley, Alabama is a beautiful piece of property that we have there that our ministry leases. And we've got a father and son deer and hog hunting retreat coming up right before Thanksgiving. We have room for one more dad and one more son. This property has a lot of hogs on it. It also has a ton of deer. I mean, we see 6 or 8 does out in the food plots, almost every evening. So we've got the week after Christmas, we've got a few spots open. And then right there towards the end of January and early February, we have some spots open on those too. And that is when the rut occurs in this part. This is the Black Belt of Alabama. It's Crenshaw County is where Brantley and Laverne, those are the areas that right around where this is. And we've got about, I think it's 20 food plots on this particular piece of property. We have a lot of shooting houses. We also have a lot of Millennium ladder stands. You can hunt in the woods in the morning, and then you can hunt a food plot in the evening. These are all rifle hunts. What I'm telling you here in Alabama, this is all rifle. If you're interested in killing a hog, you got a good chance of killing a hog there too. This was just from the other day. We get a picture, this particular feeder, we get a picture of hogs almost every evening. This is in Brantley, Alabama. Here's a different, this was just from a couple of days ago. I have some cell cameras in Alabama, but we don't have great service there. So there's only a few spots where I can get cell service. And so that's where I have them. Here's a couple of good bucks that we got from the other night. And here's some good bucks that were killed last year on this same piece of property, just so you know what you got there. Now, a new lease, a new property for us for doing retreats is Camden, Alabama. This property has 2 miles of river frontage on the Alabama River. The property is literally right up against the Alabama River. So as you can see in that trail camera picture, we have a lot of hogs on this property. And some people say, oh, I don't care anything about hogs. But you know what? Other people say, hey, I've never hunted hogs. I've never been on a piece of property that had hogs, and I've never seen a hog in the wild. And oh, by the way, they're also delicious. So we have several retreats coming up here in November. We got a few open spots on that one. That's opening weekend of rifle. And then we got January 5 through 8, January 19th, and then January 26th. Again, we're getting into that January rut. It's probably sometime around the January 20th or so is what I would say is going to be, you know, really peak of the rut in that area. Of course, it could vary a little bit, but that's when you see a lot of activity. We did do a retreat there last year. This was before we had the property leased, but here's a buck we killed. We've done a lot of property improvements in Camden, Alabama this summer. I think we've added 6 new shooting houses. We've added several new ladder stands. We've added 7 feeders to the property. And we actually were able to take up some donations and pay for a guy with a skid steer and a forestry mulcher to come out there. It's thick property right along the river. It's kind of very thick in there. So he was able to go in there and open up some lanes for us to hunt. And the deer and the hogs should feel very safe stepping out into those lanes. We also have property here in South Carolina. We have White Oak, South Carolina, which is near Fairfield, is in Fairfield County, which is a good county for South Carolina. This trail camera picture was just a few weeks ago. We got it, this guy in one of our fields one evening in the food plot. We have 3 open spots on November 3rd through the 5th. So we do have a few open spots in South Carolina. And we have pigs there too. They come and go. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But check out White Oak, South Carolina too. So if you want information about this or any of our retreats, go to ironmanoutdoors.org and click on upcoming retreats, and you'll see what we got coming up. All right, so the question is, the best deer hunting retreat, which one is it, Patrick? And I get that question multiple times because I've been to all these properties. I planned food plots just in the past couple of months. I think we've planted right at 50 food plots in Ohio, in Kentucky, in Alabama, and in South Carolina. If you add it all up together, it's close to 50 food plots that we've done. So I've been on these properties and I know what's going on with each of them. It's hard to beat Western Kentucky. Really big deer. The biggest deer we've ever killed on an Ironman retreat was a deer we call Brutus. And we have a video on our YouTube channel of Brutus. He scored 203 inches, and he was after the drying period, he was 195 inches. Huge buck, killed with a bow by a great guy from Alabama who came on one of our retreats and shot it on our property. Awesome. Hard to beat Western Kentucky. Cambridge, Ohio, also very, very good. We kill a lot of big bucks. You see a lot of deer in Cambridge, Ohio. And then, Alabama, it's that late rut. So that's really attractive because our season's already over January 1st here in South Carolina, but we can go to Alabama and hunt a whole nother rut with the rifle, and a lot of deer on both Camden and Brantley, Alabama. You'll see a lot of deer, and you got a real good chance of hogs. Also, I would say Camden, Alabama, a little better chance for hogs because it's right there on the river. But Brantley, Alabama also has a good hog population. And we see, we get hogs pictures from time to time on every one of our cameras. in both of those locations. So they're on every stand potentially, but that doesn't mean, that you're going to come out of there with a truckload of them either. They're still a wild animal. It still takes some hunting. So if maybe you've been watching our videos, maybe you've been following us on Facebook, and you've said, I've always wanted to go on one of those retreats. This year could be the year. There are a few openings left. Come join us this fall. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.